I'd like to introduce you to your next creative digital storyteller. Hi, I'm Adam Preister. Ever since I was young, I've been fascinated with the digital world. I inherited the passion for digital media from my mom, who was a talented photographer. My experience with college student life began at the University of Nebraska in Lincoln, where I studied English rhetorical theory in between trips to the dining hall and football games. After graduating with my BA in 2012, I went back to school to enroll in the University of Nebraska at Omaha's broadcasting program. I expanded on my passion hosting a radio show, broadcasting sporting events, and reporting the news. I completed my degree in 2015 and was given my first job as a part-time news photographer at KMTV in Omaha. I still had a lot to learn, but there's nothing like a trial by fire. In January 2016, I was KMTV's first photographer on the scene of a massive gas explosion and fire on one of the coldest days of the season. M's Pub in the Old Market was ablaze, and I had a front row seat capturing the chaos of the moment.
My friend and I started to gather our stuff, and the whole building shook with the explosion. Smoke started filling. I'm on the 4th floor. It was already coming in the 4th floor.
It looked like what was blowing out, like the glass and everything from the wall, just was in slow motion. In about a couple of seconds later, I realized it was gas explosion because of what I had smelled. And I was frozen in the spot, like I couldn't move.
While on the scene, a former classmate working for WOWT told me they had full-time jobs open, and after that day, I applied straight away. In February 2016, I started at WOWT, where I have been for the past 5+ years. Now what I have next to show you are some of my favorite stories I've helped to tell.
I was just told to go clean the ovens, and I did it.
Brandon Fabian says he will never sound the same, never breathe the same.
I don't have the same voice anymore.
He says he'd cleaned ovens a handful of times working at Mom's Cafe in Plattsmouth, but tells us he'd never been trained how to use a new product, heavy duty off.
I taped my sleeves to the gloves, and I had to get 2 rags and put it over my face, but I didn't have any goggles.
Brandon says not all proper safety equipment was available. He tried to take his own precautions, making his own safety gear with what he had, and sprayed the chemicals into a still warm oven.
It evaporated and went in my lungs.
Just tore him to pieces.
His parents didn't know what to make of him the next day.
It seared the lining of his lungs.
The toxic side effects aren't all instant.
It hits you a day after.
24 hours later, medical reports he gave us show he was rushed to the emergency room with an intense burning in his lungs.
On like a scale of 1 to 10, it's probably like a 6 or 7 to me.
He was diagnosed with chemical pneumonitis.
I'm obviously very concerned about his health. The other side of that coin is, after spending 35 years in the restaurant business, I'm angry.
Brandon's dad has managed local restaurants in the past. He thinks employers aren't doing enough to train their employees about workplace safety hazards.
OSHA standards they seem to be almost voluntary these days.
Brandon is still distraught.
Just give me a second.
When he thinks about the future, all he can think about are the things he won't be able to do, now with a diminished lung capacity.
It's like, if I wanted to play with my kids outside, I can't do much anymore.
This program we've seen just change lives.
Music filled the air at Sumter Amphitheater tonight. It's not the first time these musicians serve their peers.
So this is just a positive outlet for them to turn to get through the hard times.
The jam session, a benefit for Guitar for Veterans, a program that puts the 6-string instruments in the hands of veterans.
This has been a life-changing experience for me.
Local vets take musical notes, learning to strum and pluck the right chords. And you don't get a reason why. And after 10 weeks, veterans graduate from the program and are awarded their very own guitars.
As a kid, I picked up a guitar, I don't know how many times, off and on over the years, and never really took it serious until now.
In return, the program serves them as an outlet for veterans struggling to deal with post-traumatic stress.
It's truly a healing miracle to watch somebody just envelop the skill of learning guitar, as well as suddenly become aware that they have a support group.
Sometimes you just say, well, wow, I need some relief, of a different nature. And so you pick up your guitar. Picking up the guitar for me has become a good source of comfort.
Our crew is on the ground in the area where at least one tornado did touch down. Our Josh Preister continues our coverage live. Josh, what do you see?
Yeah, John, we're live just southwest of the town of Farragut, and there is some pretty significant damage done to a home here. We're actually on the top of the hill. I'll have my photographer kind of panned around here. We have to be careful. A lot of debris around the home. You can see the roof was taken off of the home. A lot of trees down here as well, and also a few sheds that are down here in the area. Now, emergency crews are on scene now. I'll have my photographer kind of follow us around here. We'll catch up with one of the owners over here. And John, lucky enough, they were able to get down into shelter in time. But as you can see, a lot of damage done here. Thankfully, no one was injured. We can see the owner of the home over here. The wife is kind of pretty shaken up about the incident. A lot of damage going on here. Sir, we're live on Channel 6 News right now, live at 5. Tell us a little bit about what happened, what you kind of experienced out here.
Well, you'd have to talk more to my wife. I was at work, and she called me about 5 after 4 and says, you need to get home.
Was it kind of surprising to come home to see all this damage?
Oh, yeah. She said I don't know, heard the whistle going off in town, she said, and she grabbed my 2 grandkids, and we have an old cave, and she was headed down to the cave and got the door open, and then the door went flying, and so did the grandkids.
Have you guys ever experienced something like this?
No.
How long have you lived here?
We've lived here since 2006.
So quite a long time.
Yeah.
Feeling pretty thankful tonight then, or?
Glad this can all be, it's a mess, but it can all be replaced, but everybody's fine, that's the main thing.
All right. Again, yeah, we're live here, John, just southwest of the town of Farragut. This is the first spot we've been to. There's been multiple reports of damage throughout the area. Significant damage, but thankfully no reports of any injuries right now. Of course, we're going to kind of drive around and look for other damage, and we will keep you updated with what we find.
All right, thank you, Josh Preister, reporting live, and that's near Farragut, Iowa.
I've primarily been the overnight breaking news photographer for a little over a year now. But as the industry has changed to value photographers that are the talent in their stories, I know that I excel the most when I can be behind the lens, making the images look as best as they can. That's why I hope you'll consider me to be your next creative digital storyteller.